going on? It's Kevin Kenny. This is the Build Series live in New York City. Our guest today has been called an icon in the making by Vogue magazine, and her new album, Rouge, is out and available everywhere July 12th. Please join me in welcoming Yuna.
Yay! Hey guys, what's up?
Thank you for stopping by, Yuna.
Thank you for having me. This is so cool.
This is pretty neat, right?
Yeah.
You're a very gracious guest. You're going to perform for us in just a little bit. But let's start at how I just introduced you there. When you hear a magazine like Vogue call you an icon in the making, is that exciting or is that terrifying?
A little bit of both, because, you know, to me, I see myself as just like it's just me, you know. I mean, like, yeah, I see myself in the mirror every day, you know. So when people kind of have that title on you, oh, she's an icon, I'm like, oh, then I have to maybe do some iconic things, you know. So, but I guess it's kind of nice. I don't know, like, I guess it's something that you have to kind of like grow into gradually, I think. Yeah.
Does it motivate you in a way?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, like, I know for a fact that, you know, being the artist that I am, you know, I have to like grow into a better artist, like, every year. I think, you know, every album I try to give my best, and for the fans and, you know, everyone else that doesn't know who Yuna is yet, but, you know, like maybe after this album comes out, you know, maybe I'll gain a few new followers or fans. So, yeah.
Right. Well, you certainly gained a lot of friends, it looks like, just taking a peek at the track list for this one. It's the most collaborations you've ever put forth on a record. What has led to that? Is it kind of just being in LA and making a lot of friends, or why did you feel the need to collaborate with so many people as an artist?
Well, you know, like, I've been in LA for about like almost 10 years now. And I've been doing this for almost 10 years. So in my musical journey, you know, I've met like a bunch of people, but yeah, made some friends. But at the same time, kind of, I don't know, like my, what do you call it? My music vocabulary, if you can say that, grew bigger, you know, and I used to just do folk and jazz music, but then, you know, I got into like maybe R&B and then pop, so it's a lot of fun, you know. I get to work with a lot of different artists in the past, and I think for this album I really wanted to try something different, something new, and working with artists, like collaborating with other artists, was very terrifying to me, because I'm extremely, what do you call it, like protective of my like craft, you know, previously when I was a little younger. But now I'm just like, hey, you know, like, I have this project that I'm working on. Do you want to be on it? Yeah, it's gonna be fun. You know, it's kind of like a party, like a fun get together.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of nice that I got a bunch of people, really talented people on this album.
I want to go back just briefly to something you said about how you formerly were very protective of your craft, and you took probably great ownership over it, didn't want to really give up a lot of control, as most great artists do. Who was the first artist you collaborated with that really showed you, oh, I can let them have the wheel, so to speak, for a brief moment there, and it works?
I have to say, maybe, you know, like, let me think. I think working with Pharrell really kind of just like gave me the opportunity to just like learn, you know, how to be a better artist, and also, you know, be open to, I remember he told me, you know, Yuna, you gotta be, you know, like flexible and just like be like water. No, he didn't say that, but basically he told me to just have fun with music, you know, and just make music and see what happens after that, you know. So after making that first album, I think slowly I kind of like opened up to maybe having collaborations or like jumping onto like other people's like musical projects and DJs and rappers, you know. So and it's fun, and I wanted to do kind of like a similar thing for Rouge.
Well, we can thank Pharrell for this great guest list. I want to run through, there's so many people on this record that I would like to talk about. So maybe I'll drop a name and then you can share maybe a quick story, a little anecdote about each and how it came to be. Let's start with Usher.
Yeah. Well, Usher, it's not on this album though. It's like
right, well, working with him. I'm sorry, just going through your,
okay.
collaborator.
Cool. Well, obviously Usher is like the biggest collaborator like I've ever worked with. But yeah, I mean, like just having him on the track, like like I said before, I was very like protective of my songs, and I had the song Crush, and it was just me on it, but it was just so beautiful and so relaxing. And then, I thought like, oh, maybe we'll have like another like male singer jump on this, and in my head, it's just like, oh, you know what? It has to be Usher because this is so him as well, and I haven't heard him doing something like this in a long time.
Right.
Like kind of like a slow jam, like 90s, like early 2000 R&B, And yeah, we sent the song to him and he heard it, and then he sent back like his verse, like all finished and like mixed, all beautiful, and we didn't have to do anything else to the record. Like it was like done.
Perfect.
It was perfect.
Did I see you guys on the Gram recently on stage together?
Uh-huh.
What happened there?
Well, recently we were at a festival, Smoking Grooves in LA, and he was headlining, and he wanted to play Crush. So I'm so happy that he loves the song. Like he wanted to perform Crush, and he invited me to come. And initially I wasn't in the country. I was back in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, where I'm from, to be with the family, but he needed me there, so I flew back. I flew to Malaysia to be with the family, and then I flew back to LA, and then the next day it's the festival. So
Right. When Usher calls, you got to be there.
I know. I'm like, I'll be there, Usher.
One of the most interesting names that I saw on your sort of collaboration resume is DJ Premier. Mm-hmm. How did that come about?
With DJ Premier, I have to be honest, before the collaboration, I was not, because I didn't grow up here.
Right. No,
so
totally.
I wasn't raised to, like, I didn't have, like, an older sibling, too. So I wasn't exposed to the American, like, hip-hop scene. And, I mean, moving out here, I think slowly, like, I started learning the music history of, United States. And my manager was a huge DJ Premier fan, and he's like, yo, you gotta work with DJ Premier. I'm like, cool. Like, I checked out like all his music, and he's obviously legendary,
Yeah.
So I think like a year later or something like that, we had the opportunity to meet up with him. And I was in New York for a little bit, like maybe, it was really short, like 3 days or something. So I was in the studio with him for 2 days. And we made that track, Places to Go.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Like, that is one of my favorite songs I've ever written. So,
Probably such a great learning experience just being around him, especially as you sort of extend your foray into hip hop.
Yeah.
Maybe my favorite story of a collaboration you did is with Tyler, the Creator, because it's such a great lesson in persistence, right? Because I understand that when you first reach out in the traditional way, he was busy, and it's really pretty common.
Understandable,
totally. That happens all the time for X, Y, and Z. But then fate intervened to make this happen. Can you tell this great story?
It's, I mean, like, I didn't know how that happened, but I think if you believe in something and you really, really want something, it'll just, appear, like, in front of you, like it's nothing. I think I maybe prayed too hard for it. I mean, please, God. But I wanted to work with him, so I have this song. It's called Castaway. On Rouge, and it's an amazing song. I wrote it. It's about my first meeting with a record label when I was 14 or 15, and it's a great song about kind of like, it's very chill and relaxing, kind of happy, but the message is so kind of like sassy, almost a little bit, and when you listen to it, you're like, oh, she's pissed off or something, but it's at the same time, it's very relaxing. And I feel like he has that attitude, kind of, it fits him perfectly. So we wanted to find someone for to jump on the song, and I couldn't think of anyone else, but having Tyler on it. But I had no idea at the time he was working on his project,
Right.
None of us knew about it, right? So we approached him, and now I feel really bad because we were like, hey, like Tyler, my people reach out to his people, but I totally get it when things don't work out, and it's totally fine. And I think one day I just like drove my car out, trying to get coffee, and I parked my car, and he was just walking down the street.
Just walking down the
just
street.
hanging out, eating ice cream. So I'm just like, of course, you know, like, I saw him, I said, hey, like, what's up? And he's like, oh, hey, Yuna, like, how's it going? I'm like, pretty good. Like, you know, we've been trying to look for you in the last, like, 5 months. We've been trying to track you down. So I have this song, like, do you want to listen to it and be on it? And he's like, yeah, sure. Like, you just send it to me. Like, you have my number, right? I'm like, no, no, I don't have your number. So that's how it happened. But, you know, before, like, we met a couple of times. Like, I performed at Camp Flock now before, and he's just super, I mean, to me, like, he's amazingly sweet and super talented. So, yeah.
I love that story specifically because I think there's this beautiful full circle moment between that moment you had with Tyler and then what the song's based on, right? Because the song is based on this the first ever record label meeting where they kind of, to make a long story shorter, they kind of just like poo-pooed you. You know, they were kind of like, you know, acted like you were nothing, and they kind of like, oh yeah, you think you're gonna, the execs are gonna hear this, like whatever, you know? Yeah. But then that you didn't let that deter you, and the same thing was Tyler. You could have seen Tyler walking down the street and be like, oh, he never wrote back, he probably doesn't want to do it, but you didn't let that deter you either.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I guess, you know, you'll just never know what's really happening until you kind of just like see him and just like, you know, try. And for me, like, my what do you call it? Not motto, but kind of like my motto in life is just like, you'll never know unless you ask, you know? So just ask for it and then like see what happens, you know? If it's no, I've been said no to so many times, you know? It's nothing new to me, and it's totally fine if I get rejected, you know? So I'm so used to it. I've done this for a long time. But it's important to never give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. One of the songs that you're going to perform, I believe there's going to be 3, is one of them is going to be Nevermore, correct?
Forevermore.
Forevermore?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how I messed that one up. I took
like
it the
Nevermore
negative
too.
route. That's far more optimistic. But this is a song, if I have the story correct, is you were working on this record, and I guess it was largely sounding very American pop, and then you wanted a song to take it back to your roots and maybe more of a Malaysian influence.
Yeah.
Can you tell that story?
So, you know, my producer and I, we've been working on like the album, and we had this idea. Like, I think like after we finished like some songs, I thought, hey, Robin, you know, I have this idea. I've always had this idea of just like making something out of this beautiful old Malay sha'ir melody. Sha'ir is kind of like a poetry, you know, kind of. This melody stays the same throughout the whole like verse, kind of, you know. So, and he's like, oh yeah, sure. Like, why don't you just sing something? I'll record it and then I'll try something out. And I did that, and he came up with this beautiful production, this beautiful song, and I just felt super inspired and just like, okay, well, I have something to write. You know, immediately I was just like writing a song. Yeah, you know, like I feel like it's important because I don't have that opportunity to kind of just like play around with Malay instruments, especially when I work mostly in LA, you know, and yeah, I feel like for this album, I really wanted to try at least just one song, just put in one song that has something to do with my roots and my culture. And we did that. And for the music video, for the visuals, it was important for me to fly back to Malaysia and shoot the entire music video back home as well.
So cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Music video.
Thank
We're going to kick you to the fans in just a quick second, but I want to talk tour because you're doing some really cool shows this summer in support of the new record.
Yeah.
I think Sony Hall is the date, or the location, I should say, here in New York City. But where else are you heading? What are you looking forward to about tour?
Wow. Wow, I don't know, man. I haven't gone on tour. No, you're talking about it, making me so nervous.
Yeah, right.
I was like,
well, what are you looking forward to the most about it? We can, of course, get the dates online.
Well, I guess like it's a different kind of show that I'm putting on. I think, you know, like, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but it's definitely exciting. It's not just me and the guitar and the ukulele anymore, you know. Like, I've grown into this this person that I am today that I want to try something new. So we want to try and do that for this tour. And I'm also going on tour in Europe by end of this year. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see the fans again. I don't know, like, you know, like I haven't been in a room where people like screaming my name or, you know, like singing along. So I don't know. Like, I haven't felt that in a while. So
it'll be good.
I'm excited, yeah.
It'll be a fun summer. Let's get to the first studio audience question. It'll come from right up behind me. What's your name?
Emily?
Hi.
Hi. Sorry. My question is, you have so many different sections of your identity that you represent. You as an icon are really pulling through for a lot of people. What part of your identity are you the most proud of, and what part do you think is the hardest to express in this kind of music industry and the climate of today?
Wow, that's a great question. Let me think about what to answer. I think, you know, for me, like I've never like tried to hide my identity or my faith. You know, like I think people from the get-go, they just immediately know like, oh, she's Asian, she's Muslim. So I don't know. I think like I've never seen that as a like a setback. Is what you call it? Like kind of like, you know, I don't see that as a like a huge challenge. Maybe because I'm super positive, or maybe I'm just so used to it. Like I've done this back home where I'm from, you know, and for a few years, and I carry the same attitude over here, and just keep on going, keep on like working hard. But yeah, like I'm proud, you know, to kind of like tell people when they ask me about my identity or about, you know, like, oh, do you practice Islam? And I'm like, yeah, you know, like I practice modesty, and I'm also like Malaysian from Southeast Asia, and sometimes they don't know where that is, but I'm happy to explain to them. It's right over here, you know, near Thailand, near Indonesia. So yeah, I mean, like I get those kind of questions all the time, and every time I feel happy to explain to people, you know, let them know about my roots and where I'm from. Yeah.
Great question. We have time for one final question. It'll come from over here.
Hi, Yuna.
Hi.
So we have a question from our site, buildseries.com, and it says, what has been one of your favorite songs to perform live, and what song are you most looking forward to performing on your new album?
Wow. That's a tough question. I have so many songs that I love. Performing live, I think I have a song called Lullabies, and every time I sing that song, it's always like something, you know, like I feel something special is happening. And I probably sang that song, you know, like a million times, but every time I sing it, it feels like the first time, you know? And so that's the song, that's one of my favorites, I think. Okay, fine, my favorite. But for this next album, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Like I started rehearsing already. I love every single song. But recently I performed Blank Marquee in Seoul, Korea. And that song was a jam. So I am excited to play that song every night on tour. It's so much fun. So yeah, Blank Marquee. Yay, thank you.
Great questions. Well, we're excited. We're going to get a little preview tour in just a few moments. You're going to take the stage. But thank you so much. Before we get to that, for kids coming by, I want to thank you one more time. Guys, make some noise for Yuna.
Yay.